Hi, Mr. P. This is my presentation on The Mother by Gwendolyn Brooks, which was published in 1945. Gwendolyn Brooks was born in 1917 and she grew up in Chicago. Her work focuses on the complexities of Black urban life, and she was the first Black poet to win the Pulitzer Prize in 1950. She was a voice of the Civil Rights Movement, and she served as a consultant in poetry for the Library of Congress during her career. Her most famous works include We Real Cool and Annie Ellen. We Real Cool is a poem about young Black men who have dropped out of high school, and Annie Ellen is about a normal Black girl growing up in Bronzeville neighborhood of Chicago's famous South Side. The Mother addresses a subject that was not spoken about at the time, which is abortion. The Mother also highlights the disproportionately high number of abortions that African American women receive. The Mother by Gwendolyn Brooks. Abortions will not let you forget. You remember the children you got that you did not get, the damn small pulps with a little or with no hair, the singers and workers that never handled the air. You will never neglect or beat them, or silence or buy with a sweet. You will never wind up the sucking thumb or scuffle off ghosts that come. You will never leave them, controlling your luscious sigh, return for a snack of them with gobbling mother eye. I've heard in the voices of the wind, the voices of my dim-killed children. I have contracted, I have eased, my dim dears at the breast they could never suck. I have said, sweets, if I sinned, if I seized your luck, and your lives from your unfinished reach. If I stole your births and your names, your straight baby tears and your games, your stilted or lovely loves, your tumults, your marriages, aches, and your deaths. If I poisoned the beginning of your breaths, believe that even in my deliberateness I was not deliberate, though why should I whine that the crime was other than mine? Since anyhow you are dead, or rather, or instead, you were never made. But that too, I am afraid, is faulty. Oh, what shall I say? How is the truth to be said? You were born, you had body, you died. It is just that you never giggled or planned or cried. Believe me, I loved you all. Believe me, I knew you, though faintly, and I loved you all. This is my annotated version of The Mother by Gwendolyn Brooks. And the structure of the poem is that it is 3 stanzas with 33 lines, and the last stanza is a tercet, which means there are 3 lines in the last stanza. The poem is a form of lyric poetry as there are a lot of rhymes throughout the poem, and there's a lot of anaphora throughout the poem. There's a lot of anaphora throughout the poem, such as you will never, you, your, I, believe, and if I. There's also a lot of enjambment in the poem, as seen in lines 5 to 6, 7 to 8, 12 to 13, and 14 to 15. There's no pattern in the beats, but the poem follows a medium to slow pace. Sound. There's repetition of you will never, children, loved, wine, you, your, I, and believe. The first stanza follows an AABB rhyme scheme, and so does the second stanza. However, the second stanza is more regular. There's no rhyme in the third stanza. Figurative language. The poem begins with abortions will not let you forget in line 1, which is a form of personification, as well as I've heard in the voices of the wind in line 11. There's also apostrophe in the poem as the speaker references to you, but it is unclear to whom he or she is referring to. There's also hyperbole throughout the poem as the speaker says, you will never neglect or beat in line 5, you will never wind up the sucking thumb in line 7, you will never leave them in line 9, they could never suck on line 13, you were never made in line 26, you never giggled or planned or cried in line 30. This frequent use of hyperbole shows that the speaker stands firmly by the decision that they made. There's also metonymy in line 3 when the speaker says, the damp small pulps with a little or with no hair. Pulps is metonymy for heads. There's also several motifs including body parts, which is shown through thumb, hair, breast, body, and eye, as well as childhood, which is shown through sweets, sucking thumb, ghost, snack, and also life, which is shown through the cycles of life, including love, marriage, and death. The symbols include voice, body, life, and child. One of the tones is that the tone is iconoclastic, as the speaker focuses on a controversial topic given its time period and disrupts the conventional definition of motherhood through lines 31 through 33 when the speaker says, "Believe me, I loved you all. Believe me, I knew you, though faintly, and I loved you all." The tone is also reflected as the speaker reflects on her past abortions that she can never forget when she says, "If I stole your births and your names" in line 17, "if I poisoned the beginning of your breasts" in line 20. The tone is also mournful as the speaker mourns the children that were never born and that she never got to experience. For example, in line 2, the speaker says, "You remember the children you got that you did not get." Theme. One theme is that decisions have consequences. This poem has seen a lot of controversy, as pro-life supporters believe that this poem supports their stance, as the speaker refers to killing their children. However, pro-choice supporters believe this poem shows that the speaker stands by their decision for abortion, even though it was a hard decision. However, I believe that Miss Gwendolyn Brooks did not have a political stance, but rather was aiming to portray the difficult emotions that mothers face after an abortion. Another theme is that it is important to show empathy to others because you never know what others are going through. The lesson here is to listen and try to understand others' pain, even if their experiences differ from your own. One last theme is that you should not be ashamed of abortions. Brooks breaks the silence on abortion, and sharing stories, even painful, can further help people understand and heal. This is my bibliography. Thank you for watching my presentation, Mr. P.